All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, if you want to search for one of the NBA's most dysfunctional franchises, then look no further than the Phoenix Suns. Today, the Suns fired Frank Vogel as their head coach after just 1 year on the job. The Suns went 49 and 33 during the regular season, but they were sent home unceremoniously in the first round of the playoffs, courtesy of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who swept them. And those same Timberwolves are currently up 2-0 on the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference semis, who also happen to be the defending NBA champions. At the end of the day, for me, it's just unrealistic expectations by Suns team owner Matt Ishbia, who has wanted to make waves since he purchased his team roughly 18 months ago. You go back to last season, just before the trade deadline, the trade with the Brooklyn Nets to get Kevin Durant, and then this past summer acquiring Brad Beal from the Washington Wizards. So many questionable moves. You fired Monty Williams last year after the Suns' second round loss to the Denver Nuggets. For me, plain and simple, the Phoenix Suns are a joke. I mean, you cannot win a championship if you're going to have so much instability. You're not going to win a championship if you keep turning around firing head coaches after each year. Say what you want, but KD, the coach killer, strikes again. I'm not going to put all of this on him, but he's still part of this. And for me, it's been a calamity of errors since KD left the Golden State Warriors in 2019. You think back to his first season with the Brooklyn Nets when he was just rehabbing from the Achilles injury. Didn't even play a game for the team yet. And Kenny Atkinson just decided to pack up and leave as the team's head coach. Uh, you think about it. You got Steve Nash that got fired, while KD was playing for him. Monty Williams last year, and now Frank Vogel. And with the exception of Nash, all of these men that I just named, they're respected coaches in that circle. So just like it was last week when the Lakers fired Darvin Ham, where is the accountability from the Suns players on this? I mean, you think about it. Bradley Beal's disappearing act in the playoffs against the Timberwolves, and I talked about this. I said Brad Beal when he was in Washington, big fish in a small pond. Things have changed right now. Uh, and the other thing for me, where is the accountability from Suns team president James Jones? Because he's the guy that put this roster together. You go back a couple of years, okay? Just go back to 2021. The Phoenix Suns were in the finals and they were up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Bucks before they couldn't close it out. You go back to 2022, this team won 64 games in the regular season. A lot has changed since then. They traded DeAndre Ayton to Portland. They traded Chris Paul to go out there and get the likes of Brad Beal. But then on top of that, between the trades for Chris Paul, I mean the trade like sending Chris Paul out for Brad Beal. So between that Brad Beal trade and between the trade to get Kevin Durant from the Nets, the Suns gave up all of their depth. This team really didn't have a lot of depth. They came into the season without a lot of size, and it showed up in the postseason. And then on top of that, this notion of what, we don't need a point guard. We're going to let these guys go out there and do it was a bunch of baloney, and it showed up at points throughout the season, and especially here in the playoffs. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. KD, Booker, and Beal are three guys that need the ball in their hands in order to go out there and be effective. Okay, you got three ball-oriented guys, nobody who's going to be out there to set them up. It was a recipe for disaster. And like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, this notion of, what, we could just put guys together and just add water and stir and mix, and we're going to have a championship. It doesn't work like that. All right. It's plain and simple. It does not work. You look at the bulk of the teams that are still around in the postseason right now. They're putting this super team notion of bet. It's all about drafting your guys. It's all about developing your guys. You add a player here or there, but nonetheless, this notion of just trying to like buddy up, like we're playing AAU ball and get a championship, it's not working. Okay, so I said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and that is Kevin Durant will never, and I mean repeat, never win another NBA championship, and he's going to spend the rest of his natural life looking for the respect that he feels that he deserves. And this right here is not helping situations because it's one of those where to me the Suns are an embarrassment. And good luck trying to go out there and find somebody who's going to coach this team. I mean, you think about what Matt Ishbia is putting in place since he took over this team. There's no way that you can build a championship team within a year. And now all of a sudden you've gotten rid of two head coaches in about a year. That's not a good look. Who in their right mind? I'm sure somebody's going to do it, but who in their right mind is going to want to sign up for this job? Okay, you've got an aging KD, you got Brad Beal, you've got Devin Booker, and not to mention, you've got close to $200 million committed to this team for next season. So unless you trade a Booker, unless you trade a Durant or a Brad Beal, you're really not going to have a lot of financial flexibility. You don't have a lot of picks. So honestly, I'm looking at this, and this is just simply a recipe for disaster. I'm not surprised that the move happened, but I still think it's stupid. I'll tell you that much. It's one of those where you bring in a guy, and it's sometimes it's very tough to get that chemistry in year one and figure things out. I mean, you think about it, Brad Beal, missing as much time as he did throughout the season did not help things, and I think it carried over into the postseason as well. So just like it was with the Lakers last week, the head coach, is the fall guy for the ineptitude of the front office and the lack of accountability and execution from the players. Right now, the Suns are not a championship team. Okay, they might think that they are internally, but at the end of the day, they're not. They're missing a rim protector. Okay, they're missing a point guard, and they're missing depth. Those are three things that are key. Okay, when you're trying to go out there and make a championship push, the best thing that they can do right now at this point, honestly, they got to trade somebody in order to get some more assets back. Whether that be KD, whether that be Brad Beal, whether that be Booker, I don't know, but nonetheless, they're not going to win a championship with that trio. They need more depth. So I'm looking at this Suns team. I'm looking at this Suns organization. Like I said before, plain and simply, absolute joke. No accountability whatsoever. Let's just blame the head coach. Let's just go ahead and keep on being divas, and let's just keep getting to the playoffs and being frustrated. It's that plain and simple. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.